So you're posting content every single day and you're waiting for a viral video to blow up, but still don't have the result that you will want from the content. I'm gonna tell you what to do in the meantime alongside your content to get clients now. So first of all, I want to say that we all agree that content, posting content is good. Okay, I am myself doing it right now. I am not trying to advocate for you to stop posting content. I think it's amazing. Okay, so keep doing it. What I'm proposing here is another thing that you can do in the side from your content that you can that can get you clients faster. Okay, faster down, for example, waiting for a viral video. So in the meantime, you can start to get some clients now. Okay, so that thing is called outreach. Now I know what you might be thinking. This is cringe. I don't want to do this. I am not a salesman. I'm not unethical. I have ethics. All these things. That let me tell you right now that these are probably very very likely. I'm 90% 90 85% secure or sure that these are beliefs that have been implanted in your minds, in your brain, from society, right? So for example, for myself, I remember that I was in high school and I was having this fucking project school, from school, this project task that I needed to go out there, to my school with my classmates, and I had to sell them on a cupcake. I was doing this myself, and I had to go and sell these overpriced cupcakes, right? So, what do you think happened when I had to do that, right? My experience about sales completely felt like I never want to do sales ever again in my life. Like I hate just trying to go with people. Hey, do you want my cupcake? How much is it? Is this? Oh no, thank you so much. I'm not interested. Like I was just going through school, through all of the fucking campus, just right there, just trying to get some fucking sales for something that I didn't even want to. It was just a fucking cupcake that the school project was about fucking cupcake. Like I didn't have a product that I wanted to sell, right? So these type of beliefs have been implanted in yourself, maybe from other people, like for example for myself with my teacher or from my teacher who didn't really understand sales, and he was just or she was just telling me, hey, just go out there and try to sell them, right? Like I was just completely terrible way to think about sales. All right, think about it like, if you're teaching your kid to drive and then you drop him off in the maybe a truck or a car in the freeway. Like, can you imagine how, like the negative association that this kid is going to have with driving later on in the future? Like, that's exactly what most people have when it comes to sales. Okay, they see people who call them from, India, for example, just asking them if they want to, buy this product, whatever, and then they see people on the car dealership that are just trying to make a quick buck and they don't really have ethics. Like, I understand it. I am ashamed of all of the sales, space for over the past, however many years, maybe 100 years, for example, which has been very, very shady. But let me tell you right now that that is a belief that you have to overcome. All right, it's something that you have to overcome and understand that there's a good way and a bad way to go about sales. All right. What if I told you that the belief of sales is bad? I don't want to be unethical. People, I provide value and people come to me is the reason why you're struggling to make money right now. Because logically, let's think about it. Like there are people right now, as we speak, that are printing with cold outreach. All right, with essentially sales. All right, cold outreach. There are people doing that. There are people who are right there making, getting one client a day, two clients a day, but printing with cold outreach. A fitness coach is doing that and he's taking your leads. So it's not about, okay, does it work? Does it not work? It's about, okay, I know it works. I just have to find a way to make it work for my business, for myself, and overcome that, belief that you have where you might think that sales or outreach is cringy, unethical, it's just terrible or whatever, which I understand again, but is a belief. Just like, for example, I remember, I'm gonna give you another story here. I remember when I first got introduced to the concept of approaching girls and talking to girls. For me, it was very, very foreign concept because I had always thought that, I just live and girls are going to talk to me, and then, that's kind of how I'm gonna get a girlfriend, right? There was no surprise why I was struggling to get girls. It was a young guy. I was like 12 years old or whatever, And I got introduced to this idea of no, you actually have to go out there and talk to the girl, right? I remember thinking that it was such a, cringy thing for me to just go out there and talk to a girl who hasn't even looked at me or who made a quick, a little bit of eye contact, but hasn't started a conversation. For me, it was really weird. And I thought that that's something that you should not do. And I was coping for about 2 months. But then I got to a point where I just thought, you know what, like, there are guys for doing it. It's not cringy for them. I have to find a way to do it for myself. And so I started, practicing cold approaching girls. In the beginning, of course, it completely sucks. It completely sucked for me. I was just getting rejected, getting rejected, getting rejected. A couple of phone numbers here and there, but a lot of rejection. Incredible amount of rejection, right? Which really, I'm very grateful because it developed me in a way, where I'm very confident now. I am able to, now with all of that practice, is like cold approaching for me seems like a, like a walk in the park, realistically. And it's really easy to, convert a girl from stranger to her falling in love with you, right? But without that experience of all the rejection and all the doubt of like, like this seems cringy. I don't want to do it ever again. Like, the right thing is just for letting them, come to me. That's the way. Yeah, right. Yeah, I have to wait for them to start a conversation with me. They have to, at least make eye contact with me. Like all of these beliefs or things that I have to overcome that allowed me to then get to this point where I know how to do this, stranger to her falling in love. So it's the same thing with cold outreach. You have to understand that, the beliefs are going to be there and you just have to shut off your brain and, just do it. Just doing it every single day. Understand that you're going to get this, feelings of, what am I doing? I should stop doing this. This is not me. This is unethical. I feel cringy. It just feels bad for me. I don't want to do sales. It's terrible. I am going to stop doing it. But just understand that it is part of the process, and you should not give up on cold outreach, because the reward of cold outreach is extremely more, let's say, abundant than all of the rejections combined. Don't think that you're doing outreach just for pitching to this person. You're building a system, all right? And that's, if you're really getting to actually doing it right, like a cold outbound system that is right, you're building a machine. You're building a system that gets you, for example, one client for every 100 outreach messages that you send. Think about that for a second. Imagine having that certainty that with a system you send 100 outreach messages and you're gonna get one client. Think about the level of certainty, the level of security, the level of protection. Like, think about that. Now, this video is about giving you more kind of freedom to think that, or for me to try to brainwash you into believing that cold outreach is not bad. It's not something cringy. Like, I'm a confident guy. Like, I get girls. I go to a gym. I'm social. I have a good life. Like, and I'm doing cold outreach. Like, you don't have to be a creep to do outreach. You can be an amazing person and still do outreach as your everyday thing. And you can be making thousands of dollars, which I'm not currently making, but you can be making thousands of dollars per month and still do outreach as your operations. Like, you can have your content that is making you a lot of money and still in the side not giving up on your cold outreach and still working on your cold outreach. And when you get a proven system, combining them all, combining both. Just remember that you don't have to be a creep to do outreach. You can do it. And as I always like to say, there's a good way and a bad way to do outreach. Okay, the bad way to do outreach is like the messages that you get from people. Like, if you're a fitness coach, for example, I'm sure you get a lot of a lot of messages saying, hey, I can do appointment setting for you. Hey, I can edit your videos. Hey, I can do your thumbnails. Hey, I can edit your reels. Hey, I can do your SEO for your brand. Hey, I can implement AI for your business. Or all of these sorts of outreach messages, they're just completely crap. Okay? And that's the bad way to go about outreach. The good way to go about outreach is so different from the rest that it's almost like a new way of contacting people, because it's so different. All right? It's like a new species of outreach. The new way is so big in personalization, building that rapport and aligning the incentives for both of us. Okay, and it's a journey that you take your clients through in order to become, to go from a stranger into a client. Like, can you imagine that skill? I want to tell you specifically, kind of high level, what does it take to build this kind of new world outreach model. Okay, so I got it here written down. So it involves, number one, sending a selfie video. So that's the biggest difference. Okay, you're not sending a copy and paste message. You're actually taking time out of your day to grab your fucking phone and record a video. Okay, that's the first thing. You are very big, or this process is very big in personalization. So that selfie video, right, with the name, and saying a quick video or a quick text, basically just saying something quick, where it involves asking for permission for you to pitch them on something. And you go, you gauge with this message if they are interested in what you have, or if they have a problem that your service, your solution solves. If they do have that problem, and if they are open to be pitched, they want to tell you, and you're going to proceed with a pitch, which is going to be as a VSL, video sales letter, that is going to be native in the platform, like an Instagram file, like an Instagram video that you're going to record, maybe in your computer, like a presentation or something like that, or maybe a video like this. It can be also like that, but it's a BSL that is going to brainwash them. I'm comfortable saying that it's going to brainwash them into understanding that your solution, your product, is the thing that they actually need right now. Okay, of course, that BSL is going to contain the most perfect offer you can have, the most irresistible offer you can build. And of course, I'm going to refer to the value equation from Alex Hormozi. Is the best way for me that I found to create an offer. Okay, and even if you want to take it to a next step, for example, doing an irresistible lead magnet. Okay, the thing before an offer for them to basically trust you more. So for example, I'm remembering right now that my first system that was profitable was for online fitness coaches, and I was sending them a video just like that one, saying, hey, listen, I want to introduce myself. I am Diego. I help local businesses grow, and now I am transitioning to online fitness coaches because I really like them, and I want to start to take over the market. So I have this offer for you that I think you're going to be interested in, and it's the following. I'm going to get you one new client for absolutely free. You're going to get all of the profit yourself. You're not going to give me any commission. It's going to be all yourself. And then, only after that, I'm going to introduce what I, actually do for making my money. So I was basically in this, lead magnet, I was offering them a client for free. So you can imagine that this irresistible offer is extremely compelling. And I was saying that I'm not going to touch your content. I'm not going to touch your account. I'm not even going to touch your followers. This is going to be something that's going to be on top, or completely basically different or separate from your current marketing efforts. Then from, of course, sending them BSL with a perfect offer, you're going to objection handle, handle any objections that they might have, and then book an appointment and sell them on that appointment, which of course involves the knowledge, of how to sell, which is a completely different thing, but it's also something you have to work on every single day. So again, this is going to be this was a video more about almost like opening your mind to the possibility of understanding that actually people are printing with cold outreach, and I can be one of those, right? You can be one of those. Remember that all of those rejections are not even compared to the abundance of the reward, which is building that predictable machine, which is something so it's just incredible. It's just an incredible thing to have. Okay, that machine, that specific system. And I remember that when I was doing, the cold outreach, and I was talking to my friends, we were talking about how we were building our systems, or cold outbound system. And I remember telling them that I was tired and I was so depressed from getting so many rejections. And it just came to my mind that idea where, my dad was an immigrant, right? Like, I am from Mexico, and when he was like 19 years old, now the age that I have right now, he was crossing the border completely illegally, right, with a coyote, and almost like just going through that process without really having certainty. And he had to walk for like 7 days with almost no food, almost no water. He at a point had to, he was in the mountains, and he had to drink water from a moldy, pond. And so, for me to think that I wasn't able to endure the reactions of the prospects, it just made me feel like I was a teddy bear. I felt so weak as a person, and like my bloodline was going to be completely like embarrassed, and that I was going to fail my bloodline. Not only my bloodline from the past, but also my future bloodline. They will not benefit from having this system that will make me millions of dollars over the next years that they will of course benefit from. So basically what I had to do is with some fucking aggression just look to the fucking belief that was implanted to me. I didn't ask for it to get implanted, and just cut it off and continue fucking moving forward. Like that's what something I had to do with actual aggression, like not just feeling oh yeah it's gonna work at some point, like actually being aggressive with it and just knowing I'm gonna do it. Doesn't really matter how long it's gonna take me. I'm gonna fucking do it. And so to finish off the video, I want to say that if you're able to get to a point where you're posting content every single day, which you're having a chance to get a viral video, you're slowly building that audience up, and you combine that with a cold outreach in the side, and of course working on building that profitable system, and then maybe eventually you start working also on the ads with the profit that you had from a couple of coaching clients. Like if you're working on these 3 systems at a time, and imagine that you have your viral video, you have viral video with your content, right? Then you have a system that you can get 1 client for every 100 reach outs that you send, outreach messages that you send, and then you have another way, which is ads. Like imagine that machine. Like now this is not just a system, this is like a machine, like a truck, and you're just pressing the pedal and just getting client after client after client, and just increasing the operations and maybe building a fucking $1 million, multiple 7-figure empire that your family is going to benefit from completely. Like that's one of the dreams I have for myself, like being able for my mom, for my dad, and my sister to enjoy a multi 7-figure empire where just money is no longer a concern ever. So all of that is just on the other side of building a profitable system that is going to be your content, then it's going to be your outreach, or ideally it's going to be all of them at the same time. So it's going to be your content, it's going to be your outreach, and it's going to be your ads. Maybe ads a little bit later on as you start to work on this and refining this cold outreach and then this content. But when you get to a point where you're having the 3 of them working in a pretty nice way, pretty decent way, and you're scaling up operations, it's just something inevitable that's going to happen as long as you don't quit. And you have to because I don't really know who you are, I don't know who is watching this, but you have to make that promise to yourself. Write on a fucking piece of paper, really think about it for a second, and just close your eyes for 5 seconds and think to yourself, I'm not gonna give up on this. I'm not gonna be so weak, and I'm gonna fucking endure it like a fucking Navy SEAL, like a fucking soldier. Like I'm gonna fucking do it. I don't give a fuck about the rejection. I'm gonna do it. Hopefully you like this video. I am going to continue to share the lessons I've learned from working for a business coach myself, and hopefully you like them. Goodbye.